Okay, I started recording. You can show. Then I load it up as well.
Okay, I will share my screen. So this is the whole solution, and the entry point is always the main.go. We have package main here, and you can see here we have all the dependency. Some of the built-in package, and also we have some package here define like the command where we define the database, the setting, and utility. The docs where we put the code for generate Swagger login, and the main package is the router where we define all the router of the API, and in the main method we initialize the router. And then we register the server by the HTTP server. Here we use the package name net HTTP to register the server and all the parameter here. Yeah, so this is just for testing, the testing purpose. Like we're creating unit test for something, but we haven't done it yet. And here we go to the router. We define all the API here, and also we define the version by applying the folder naming version. But first we go to the router. Let's go first. Here we using the logging framework for building our API. And this is where we register all the endpoint. We register the Swagger. We create group like the root group is API, and we register. Then we inside the API group we create another group for V1, and we create separate file for each of the endpoint. Like we group all the endpoint semantically by the file here. Like it's like more like a controller where we define all the endpoint of where which is belong to a resource. In this case, this is KPI. And here we can see that we only have an endpoint here. And basically, this is the URL of the resource. And this is the handler. Like you can see it's like an action. So I will maybe it's a little bit complex here. If you need to read it through it to understand, but I will move to other simple one like the database. Here we apply, we use GOM as an ORM relational database for Golang. And here we define the method to initialize the connection to the database, and currently we initialize once and keep it throughout the application life cycle. I'm not sure this is a best practice, but we were just trying to make it run, and we check it later if this is a best practice or not. And the database, we open the database by the connection string and the dbconfig, and this is now an empty config, which is nothing here yet, but basically it will work. And we call this init here in the main. Now now we yes, so we get the db here in the entity model. Basically it's like a singleton button where we create one and use it all the time. When db still is at the first time is no, we initiate, and from that on we use the same instance. And for the connection string and other stuff that we need to put it in the setting, we have a class, a package, a separate file, which is in the same package name command. And here we define our structure, which contains all the settings that we need. Like in this case, we need the data source, like the connection string to the database, the identity URL, which is the URL to the identity server. So in order to load the setting and map it to this strong type, like this object, we have a method to receive the path to the system file. And here we use Viper as a package to work with configuration. Basically,
sorry, do you have information about these packages somewhere where we can check them out? I think there are lots of packages like Viper, open source, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
How do you find that?
I search around and I see that is the most popular one for configuration.
Okay. Cool.
And it's easy that I just do some quick research, and it's pop to the top result right away, and it's not very difficult to search for it because it's very popular. For Viber, that's the case, but for Golang, we have another one, other ones. that we choose, but we have did it like he think that he make the choice, and I'm not sure. I'm not. I was not very clear about the reason, but yeah, that's his choice.
No, but it's to get experience. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, so the good thing is that Viber help us to work with many sources of configuration. You can see here we it received the path of the configuration file, and also when we want to read it, the configuration from the environment, we can also specify it here, like automatic environment. And these are uh, two of among many sources that Viber can handle. And after we register the source of the configuration, we unmeasure. This is like the serialize. Uh, it's another term of the serialize. Um, the value of the config in the file into an object. Okay, and so this is we define the struct and also define. I'm not sure how this is called, but this is the way that we map the source. Like in this case, the map struct will map the environment variable. For example, if we have environment variable with the name db source and the identity URL, it will map to this configuration properties. Okay, so I want to show you next the reference to this identity URL where I use identity server to validate our request by using the middleware. So I create a new middleware file. We put it here, and I will show you first the where the middleware register at the beginning. You see here when we define a group, we also um, uh, put it like we register the middleware into the group of the API endpoint, and this middleware receive true. Or I'm not sure what about this here, but basically we the middleware will receive the again context. It's like HTTP context, and here we retrieve the authorization header, and it will extract the header out of the request, and then we build the token. We will extract the token out of the header, and then here we have a several step for create a provider where we provide the identity URL, the config, and the provider will verify yeah, yeah. So we create a token verifier, and then the token verifier will verify our token, and this is the last step that we use to call the identity server. And after yeah, and after verifying, we have the token, and we extract the claim of the token out to the account, and we set all the information like the claim of the account into the, uh, the the HTTP context variable, the application variable. So this is like the section variable, and inside our model, now in the KPI action, yeah, you can see here we get the data of the current user, and we extract the account ID, and then we go to the entity and get all the in the KPI of the account ID. And here we have the serializer, where we want to transform the entity model into the detail model. Like we don't send all the data from entity model, like the one that we work with database, to all to the client, but we want to extract some of the information, manipulate it a bit before send it to client, and we define it here in the serializer. We have two entity that we need to serialize. The first one is the KPI per day array, and the second one is an object. And this is the method that we map the result. So this is the detail. So I decided to group all the data, the information, all the code for detail, entity, and serializer into model. And yes, so so I think that's all for what I have done. There's something else about Docker and Docker Compose, but it's not very relevant to this introduction. So I will skip it.
Is it already functioning? Like, is it working somewhere? Is it running somewhere?
Yeah, it's working already. So if I just run, okay, I need to start my Docker desktop. Lately, Michal tried to deploy this stuff into AWS, but there's something we still need to work out. Okay, we missed something. I will move to master branch. I think that we missed the environment file.
Okay.
I'm not sure why, because the last time I ran, I still see it in the folder. Maybe someone removed it. But
Okay. Or maybe you can show it at the architecture meeting when you're ready.
okay. So
Unless you manage to do it now, I don't mind.
no, I don't remember all the setting value here. So
Yeah.
it will take time. I don't
Okay.
want.
Yeah, maybe next week the architecture can give us a quick show.
Okay.
Looks very complex already.
Yeah, too complex. Oh, Roger, I have a question in DTO. I see you define exactly the JSON view. And do you have any default setting, or we must always setting the JSON view in the DTO?
The for value.
Yeah, DTO. Model and DTO.
No, we don't have the for value here.
No, I see you define. Can you open account .go again? And I see you define the JSON field in account, ID, name, user type. You define it, and then do you if you don't define, and what happened?
This is the we define this way, and then go in the web framework will know how to serialize our object to string and to push it into the network, like, you know,
Yeah, understand. But if we don't define, and then does it work or not?
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. I cannot answer the question because I haven't tried. But if, for example, if you want to define, if you you define wrong name here, the property will be no, I'm not sure. But I will try to answer it later to understand more about what I have done.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a question, like maybe, yeah, shortly. What did you see as the advantage, like by doing API like this compared to like yeah, let's say .NET Core API or Web API? Did you see like, yeah, like huge benefit or benefits?
I don't see any benefit, but so far, because everyone here, we are familiar with .NET Core a lot, and the downside is we took time. We will have take time to learn something new. But because this is a quite small framework, no, I mean small service, which is only an endpoint there. Yeah, the service with an endpoint, and we want to try something new.
Okay.
And I have a question, Roger. For the connection to DB, when the connection open and when the connection close, because I see in the command I see you always use the same DB connection. Not sure the connection used for own request or only current request.
Yes, the life cycle of the DB connection, I would say the whole app like is equal to the application life cycle. So it's like singleton, but I will make a note about it and research if it's a best practice or not. But yeah, likely it's not a best practice.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Roger, for that insight. I think we probably can all grab this project from Git if you want to have a look as well ourselves.
Yes, is it already in our Git X Media?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, sure. I think it's great that we have one example now somewhere working and see how things are when they're a bit more complex than what I just showed you with the tutorials.
Where do you plan to deploy, Roger? Kubernetes or AWS?
Yes, Michal did try to deploy it to Rancher with some, and then he trying to deploy it to AWS AppRunner.
Yeah, I think ITO is not quite ready for us for
Yes.
AWS, right?
No,
But the
no.
goal is to deploy it on or to have it running on AWS, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Any more questions here? If not, I will stop that recording too. Thanks again, Roger.
Yeah.